Good morning and welcome to the day 2 pregame show from the Boulder Station Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, brought to you by Bridgeford Foods and Life Source Water Systems. Here with my man Mark Jeffries. What's going on, Mark?
Hey, I'm going to walk over there. The man that's supposed to fill this spot right here, we don't know where he is. Have no idea.
Mr. Dan O'Sullivan. No, Dano will be here in just a few minutes, folks. But we're here, and here he comes himself. He's a little bit late to the party, but he's coming in.
I don't have a headset, so we're going to switch it out here. I guess I could hook up a headset. Anyway, hey, I just want to say something real quick. For those people that might be watching, obviously, the coverage for the U.S. Open and also watching BTL, I want to let everybody know. Initially, we had a thought of doing a Sunline Hotline show this evening, but logistically, we just can't get it done with everything that happens at the weigh-in and trying to get back here. It would be 10 o'clock on the East Coast, 9 o'clock Central Time. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a Sunline Hotline show next week when we get back from the U.S. Open, and we just want to focus on everything that's going down here in Vegas at the U.S. Open. I know yesterday's show was a great show with Boyd Duckett, and we did the three-way thing with Matthew in Tulsa. But next week, we will have an entire show dedicated once again to the viewer, and you guys can voice your opinions about all the happenings that have taken place over the last 2 weeks in the world of professional fishing. So please bear with this. It is an enormous logistical effort to try and do everything that we do out here. I mean, let's face it, folks, we're trying to broadcast from the middle of the desert.
We did broadcast from the middle of the desert yesterday, Mark.
So, yeah. So hopefully everybody will understand and then continue to watch the coverage that we have during the weigh-in. I will say this about the weigh-in yesterday. It was the first time in a long time in the 8 years that we've been doing this that weather wasn't a factor.
That's true. It seems like over the past 8 years, at least one day.
Wind, storms.
Did have one cancellation day last year,
yeah,
which worked to the great advantage of somebody that we know.
So that's one thing that I noticed from day one. The other thing is a lot of the big names either did well or they didn't do well. You agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would. Well, let's qualify big names here. Big names on the West. You're referring to national touring professionals. Yeah. The highest ranked national touring professional.
Let me guess.
You don't know?
Justin Kerr?
Well, he is leading the tournament, but I was looking down at the number 5 here, Mr. Jared Lintner.
Okay.
He is on a roll.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, at the end of the BPT season, a little bit of a down swing from the role that he had gone on early in the year, but
I think he was
bouncing right back.
He was the leading money winner without capturing a title.
Yeah, and
all right, Dan, are you ready? I'm done.
Yeah, he's done.
Go back
to pushing buttons.
All right. I had to get my say in there.
That's fine. All right. You forgot your glasses.
Oh yeah, I might need those.
Here, Mark, you got to get your glasses.
Thank you.
Welcome, Dana.
Hi.
I'm glad you could join us here on the day 2 show.
Hey, better late than never.
Absolutely, man. We were just getting in a little bit to the leaderboard. Justin Kerr takes the lead yesterday pretty early in the weigh-in.
Yeah, like the fourth, fifth guy to weigh in.
Yeah, fourth, fifth guy to weigh in. So, early flight. Not sure whether he caught all of his fish early, how that worked. But 11.67 pounds for Justin Kerr. In the ballpark of, what we thought that it would take. It's always, 11 to 13 pounds in that range. Mm-hmm. Typically 11 and a half pounds a day, folks. You're taking home, this trophy right here, and in this case, this year, $100,000 check, fully rigged bass cap boat, worth upwards of $70,000. So, got off to a good start, man. Mr. Justin Kerr, what do you know about Justin?
Well, Well, Justin was Mark. I think you remember probably the Big Bait Posse videos that came out when we were doing all that coverage of that stuff. Well, Justin was a part of that. He's a great fisherman. I mean, he can handle everything from a big bait rod to finesse stick, and he does really well at Lake Havasu and all those derbies back there. You know, obviously he's won the California Open. He's won the U.S. Open in the past. He lives in Lake Havasu, from Simi Valley, but you know he's on that Evergreen team, and just an excellent fisherman. Totally mellow guy. He went out yesterday. He said he did catch a limit fairly early, but with other people around him, he kind of had to stay in one spot. I believe he won a Costa event, maybe it was Stren Series at the time or something, but he's...
Yep, 2008 Costa Series on Lake Havasu. The guy's got, just in FLW, career earnings, $274,548. So apparently knows his way around a lake or two here.
I think he fished some opens from time to time.
Right.
He certainly won his share out here. Like I said, I don't remember what year his U.S. Open Championship was. I'd have to look it up, but he's a stick, dude.
Absolutely, man. Holding down the second spot, a guy who is no stranger to the top of the leaderboard at the U.S. Open either, Mr. Nick Salvucci.
Yeah, he finished second last year, and he was right there in the hunt again the year previous. He wants this tournament badly.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Badly.
He's all business out there. Like you're saying, he's
What was funny was walking up to him, and I got the phone where I'm going to do my voice recorder interview with him, and he looks at me and goes, "Oh, man." I said, "Nope, it's part of the job, dude. Do well, you gotta talk." And he goes, "Oh, we're not filming it this year?" I said, "No." He said, "Oh, okay." And we started doing our interview. He and Kerr both said mid-lake, which could be 80 miles.
Is that just the go-to?
Yeah, it is.
Jeffries talks about it all the time with all these recent tournaments happening on Grand Lake out in Oklahoma. It's always mid-lake area. Is that just the go-to for all bass fishermen across the country? Mid-lake area.
Let's define this. You've got up lake, down lake, and you've got mid lake.
Mid-lake.
So you have to divide a lake into three at that point, correct? What if the lake's 170 miles long like this?
Mid-lake sounds good today.
Mid-lake is,
Mid-lake sounds good today.
75 miles
this is
of stretch
what Mark
of water.
was talking about with the weather out here, folks. Typically, we've had 1 or 2 days that have been extremely windy. The guys did talk about it. It was a little bumpy yesterday morning. But, for the most part, with it being relatively calm here in Las Vegas with the winds, these guys can explore this entire lake and pretty much run full speed to wherever they want to go. Mm-hmm. Give themselves a lot more fishing time if they're making a long run, and that's something they have not had the luxury of doing here in the past.
No, you'd get 1 day, maybe 2 that you could comfortably go where you wanted to go. It got lumpy out there a few times. Yesterday was go. I guess we had an incident yesterday with one of the anglers. Billy was saying something about he got one of those calls for a bacon saver boat.
For those of you that don't know,
bacon saver.
Explain the bacon saver.
There's co-anglers or AAAs that bring their boats, and if a pro gets damaged here, motor breaks, whatever, they have backup plan, and they have a list of anglers that have said they can use my boat in the tournament, and they can go borrow the bacon saver. They saved your bacon.
Yeah.
I think there's some financial arrangements that are made.
You think so?
Well,
backup boats brought just in case.
I don't know who it was yesterday, but Billy got a call, and he was listening to the voicemail, and it said, "Hey, Bill, it's so-and-so, and hey, a wave picked me up and dropped my boat on a reef, and it cracked my boat, and it's taking on water, so can you help me get off the water?" So, you sure go borrow my boat, bud.
Away from what?
I don't know.
Well, right now it's showing.
Was Tommy and Pamela's boat out there?
Southwest wind at 2 miles per hour.
Oof.
So it's yeah, you never know about things like that. But heading down the leaderboard here, as we were talking about earlier, Jared Littner, 5th place. Jared had I think it's the second big bass of the tournament yesterday, 4.59, which was he was dethroned from that little check later in the weigh-in by another guy that is pretty familiar to West Coast fishing fans, Mr. John Murray.
Yep.
John sitting in 10th place, 9.58 pounds with a 4.84 pound big bass. So, man, that didn't have much to go with it. But no matter how you get there out here, if you get to that 9 to 10 pound range, you were in it.
That's here though.
Yeah.
You're gonna weigh in. You're gonna weigh in a couple of squeakers.
Absolutely.
Mark, we want to go ahead and get a hold of Billy. He's going to give us an update from after takeoff and conditions and stuff like that.
Oh, right now?
Sure, why not? Give him a call. He said he would be. He said he would be back in cell service about 9:15. Is it better to have him call in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Text him.
I will.
Call in on the hotline number.
Hey, this is raw, guys. You get what you get. We're on the fly, off the cuff here. Okay. And then we're gonna have another special guest here about 9:45. That'll be kind of fun.
Surprise guest?
No, it's gonna be Mark Copley from Strike King. This is in Lou's. This is his first U.S. Open coverage.
Oh, very cool.
First time he's been here. He's absolutely impressed. I thought it'd be kind of cool everybody to get his take. And I think Mr. Copley is gonna give away a prize pack.
Man, yeah, the man that makes things happen is not here to slinging out prize packs. So Mark can come in and give the good folks out there watching some Strike King products.
Yeah, I think he said something about some baby Z2s and something else.
Very cool, man. Looking down here. Only 20 blanks yesterday, Dano. A lot of guys were talking about how many people they thought would zero, how tough it was, and out of a field of over 250 anglers, I mean, for 20 guys in their AAAs not to win fish, that's pretty good. I mean, overall.
Are there any names on there in the standings that surprise you where they're at?
We got to go there.
Sure, why not?
Well, right off the rip, man, defending champion,
Bubbles.
Mr. Bub Tosh, 133rd place, 4 fish, 5.30. Now, did lament a little bit yesterday on stage about a lot of missed opportunities.
Yeah.
But
said he lost 2 big smallmouth.
Coming into this thing, man, he had this uber confidence. I mean, he was on something strong, and he may turn around and come in with 13, 14 pounds and then put himself right back in the mix. But I think everybody was a little surprised by that one.
It's Bubbles, man.
Is he up and down? I mean,
he's been fishing really well lately. He had some sort of either a hip or a knee replacement surgery too, and has maintained what he's doing. But he won a lot last year. He's been doing well this year.
And looking down too, Mr. Matt Shura. Matt, strong out here in the Wild West trails. Has done well in U.S. Open before.
Let's go to Billy.
3 fish, 3.94 pounds. What's up, Billy?
Oops, that's the rock music.
No, that might be Billy.
That might be Billy.
Billy?
No, just saying.
Billy,
Billy,
there?
What's
Hey.
up, man?
How are
Oh,
you?
not much. How are you guys doing?
Good. Well, you guys just finished takeoff not too long ago, and you're give us
not too long ago. We got them out really quick this morning. It was a little darker, so this morning the moonlight wasn't as bright this morning. So I think we launched at about 6:50.
That'll make Aaron happy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we launched about 6:15, 6:20 this morning. Everybody got off perfectly. I have to make a special mention to a couple different guys who had some motor issues yesterday and boat issues, who, instead of packing their bags and heading home, are fishing Colville Bay on their trolling motor.
Might not be a bad option.
No, it's not a bad option. I mean, one of them didn't even have an option because his motor fell off his boat and was only hanging by the cables yesterday.
Sweet.
And is currently, the motor sitting in the back of his truck, and he's out there on his trolling motor with his co-angler giving him a shot at some money.
Dude, that's the U.S. Open, right?
That is the U.S. Open for you, because last night, about 9:30, 10 o'clock, we were dealing with all the problems from day one. We had Luis Fernandez, who's the gentleman who lost his motor completely. I guess the bolts on his motor mount sheared off. He was stuck up in Echo Bay, and his buddies went and got him, brought him back. We tried to get him a bacon saver last night. So he's out there on a trolling motor. Sean Bailey, his Yamaha engine actually caught on fire yesterday when he was checking the trim, removing the trim. I guess a spark happened. There must have been a gas leak, and he literally, a ball of flame blew his cowling off. But he's out there fishing. He's already caught 2 fish before we even left to go check out the scenery this morning. Went over to check on him, and he already had more fish than he did yesterday. So Sean Bailey's out there with his co-angler. We got Corey Kramer, who had some motor issues, and he's out there with a triple on the trolling motor, and also Patrick Toohey. And unfortunately, we couldn't get any of them in a bacon saver last night, so they made the only decision they had to make here at the U.S. Open, and that's, well, I will fish with whatever I've got. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool, Billy. We were just, we started off the show discussing some of the guys at the top of the leaderboard, and we had transitioned into some of the surprises near the bottom of the leaderboard. What stuck out yesterday in your mind as kind of one of the biggest surprises as far as just, the goings-on of yesterday and some of the guys that didn't catch them and some of the guys that did catch them?
Well, Justin Kerr's not much of a surprise. That guy's a stick anywhere he fishes. It just depends on the tournament and the weekend and how it goes for Justin. So I'm not surprised to see him up there in the lead right now. But, it's pretty cool to see some of these, and I call them average Joe pros, just because they're the guys that are, Western pros who don't go back east, don't do FLW, stuff like that. Some of the last chance Marine guys that are in there, like third place, I think it's Stentz, right?
Yeah,
yep.
Cody Spetz.
Cody Spetz.
Yeah, Cody Spence, some of those guys. And what I kind of noticed during the weigh-ins, even though I didn't get to take a breath very long in between 254 boats, I think we took 3 breaks yesterday for a minute each. I did notice that as the day got later, the bags seemed to get a little better. So the guys that are fishing a little later in the afternoon might be getting a better bite based on the conditions. So the guys that are now, in those later flights today, possibly if the trend continues, it may help them out,
Billy,
but there were a lot of guys that struggled, obviously, by looking at the standings. A lot of guys blanked. Some of those guys were the boat issue guys.
Yeah, we looked at that. 20 guys blanked, which, we talked about it yesterday, just kind of getting the vibe from the field at the sponsors row and the meeting and everything. And, man, you kind of had the feeling that it might be a lot more than that based on what everybody was saying.
Well, the funny thing is I actually talked to a couple of guys that blanked. Alex Klein, he really good stick up in Northern California. I saw him this morning, and I'm like, hey, nowhere to go but up. And he's like, yep, great spirits. And I talked to him about 3 guys that happened to blank yesterday, and they actually didn't blank. They just couldn't catch a fish 13 inches. They were catching fish left and right that were 12 inches with bellies the size of 1-pounders. And they were really upset that they couldn't weigh those, but they just were catching fish that wouldn't measure up.
Billy, when West of the Country that's you mentioned a 13-inch fish. The rest of the country kind of fishes to their state limits. How come out here on the West, as a tournament director, we stay with that 13? Because everything I ever fished was 1 inch over, and I had my theory on it. But why do we fish 1 inch over?
Well, I don't know where it originally came from, because obviously I was trained by Harvey Naslin, and some of the rules that we use have been around since the U.S. Open first started. Obviously, we've been modifying some rules here and there as trends and things change in the industry, such as the rod lengths. That was a big deal back in the day.
Yeah.
When D. Thomas was using his poles, dipping poles. But today, I actually got rid of that in our rules, because there's a lot of swim bait rods that are over 8 feet long, and depending on the lake you're fishing, you're going to be using longer rods. And, there's the net length rule, and there's certain things that just didn't make sense. The 13-inch mouth closed has been a traditional rule that I've just stuck with.
Well, my theory always was that, and I honestly I think it's a wise one, is if a guy comes in with a fish, if you fish to the state limit at 12 inches, guy comes in with a fish that's an under, he's actually broken the law. And to me, it always seems like a fairly intelligent rule. Kind of protects the angler a little bit. So I just kind of wondered if you guys had that thought.
Yeah, no. If I would stand behind that completely, because obviously, you don't want to put people in a risk. We actually, and it's been a long time. I mean, I've been doing this 10 years, and I don't think I can count on at least 2 hands, maybe even one, how many short fish have ever been weighed in my tournaments. We actually had one yesterday. So these guys, they're obviously using their boards, they're measuring them, but sometimes they miss one, and unfortunately for that person, that's a pound penalty.
Yeah.
Billy, I think something that, may have gotten lost in this whole excitement of the U.S. Open and the weigh-in yesterday was the fact that you had over 250 guys, 250 boats, and with their AAA partners that you launched yesterday from Colville Bay, and that was kind of the culmination of several years of hard work that you and the One Bass crew and all the sponsors and everybody involved has put into this. How satisfying was that yesterday morning to see that size of a field get off onto Lake Mead?
Well, you just choked me up, because to me it means everything. A lot of hard work, a lot of long days, a lot of sacrifices to get where we're at, and it's kind of like the finish line. You finally made it. You got there. And I'm a little choked up right now, but I get a little emotional every once in a while. It's been a long road, and I can't thank the anglers, the sponsors, Western Outdoor News, Bob Twilliger, the owner, everybody that has supported us and myself to get to the point where we are today. And Rick Pierce, Michelle Kilborn, Kurt Awakawa, all the people that support us in the different industry levels, it's amazing. And yesterday, it was pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah, it was, man. I mean, it was just, it was just a really cool vibe. Just the whole lead up to this thing, the excitement, the build up, and for people that are just starting to follow the U.S. Open, and I mean, even though this is the 37th annual U.S. Open, there's been some ups and downs with the participation level, right, Billy?
Yeah, well, I mean, fortunately for myself, I mean, this is my 10th year doing it. When I started in 2010, my very first U.S. Open, I think we had 117 boats. And I was like, wow, that's, not a lot of boats. But, Harvey was like, that's a good number. Anything over 100 in this economy is a good number. And I'm like, okay, sounds great. And funny thing is, I blame Aaron all the time. It's Aaron's fault. He told me at the award show 2013, I think it was, when he won it, hey, you really got to do what you can to get this to be a 200 boat field. This has got to grow. It's got to be 200. 200's the number, Billy. I'm like, okay, let's go. Buckle up and get it done. And to not only have more than 200 3 years ago, but we've broken the attendance record 7 years in a row.
Absolutely,
And
man.
that's pretty darn cool. And it's a little sad that I might not be able to say that we did it in 8th year, because we'll cap it at 250 again next year. But
That's
it's
what
pretty
you.
darn
That's what
cool.
you say now.
Yeah, you've said that every year. We're gonna cap it. We're gonna cap it. We're gonna cap it.
We'll be 2 weeks after this thing's over. We'll be
Oh, we
getting
can do
texts from Billy. We're
300.
talking about 350.
We're gonna do 300
I
next
think
year.
we can get 350.
We're gonna have to weigh 2 sites, but we're gonna do 3.
I thought something, man. I mean, something, kind of behind the scenes that people don't see. Obviously, you just see the stage and the weigh-in, but man, there was a good crowd out there yesterday too.
Yeah, the crowd participation has really increased over the years, and I think that's a compliment of the live broadcast itself, of Western Outdoor News' reach, and today's social network society. We have the luxury of being able to use all those tools to our advantage to reach as many people as possible, and you got a lot of family members out there, but you just have a lot of people who love tournament fishing in general joining us out there, supporting their friends and learning about it. You see people that come in, and what's this all about? They happen to just be in Colville Bay at the time, maybe wakeboarding or something like that, get involved. It's funny because there's a couple guys that fish this tournament, all my tournaments, that I've met at my trout derbies and my striper derbies and my non-bass tournaments, that I knew their personality. I'm like, hey, you should try this. And every one of them that have tried it has fished every one ever since.
Billy, we talk about this, pretty much every year, about how this is not only a big tournament out west, but it's an international event. You had a few international anglers making their way across stage yesterday. I mean, off the top of your head, who traveled the furthest this year?
I think McClellan traveled the furthest, didn't he?
No, you've got Japanese people.
I mean, international guys.
Oh,
International.
okay. The international guys, yeah. We've got the 4 Japanese anglers that are fishing AAA, and then you've got 4 Korean anglers. 3 of them had won their entries to the U.S. Open in a circuit that they fished back in Korea.
Oh,
We were contacted by the tournament organization and was asked ahead of time, can you reserve 3 spots for these particular pros that had won the right to fish the U.S. Open, were sent out here by that organization. And it's pretty darn cool. I mean, to have guys come from Korea and Japan, and not only there, we've got the Aussies. We got 4 Aussies fishing it. Tony Neal and his group. Actually, 5 Aussies came all the way out here to fish this. Then you got the guys that are coming from the other side of the country, in New York and McClellan and Matt Steffen and some of those guys. They Matt Moyna. They drive a long way to get here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And I think that's an essential element, to growing the sport is getting that international participation. I wasn't aware of the deal you had with the South Korean circuit, but that's really cool, man.
You would have had
Yeah,
another.
it's pretty awesome.
You would have had another Australian here too if Carl hadn't gone and had to go get married to Kayla.
Hitched.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I
He was off
know.
getting married.
Congratulations to Carl and Kayla. If you
I
guys
really
are
don't think they're
checking it out.
watching the U.S. Open weigh, and I wouldn't.
Now, wait a second.
You never know.
You would think, some married
He's
couples,
wa-
maybe not, but I saw
Carl
some of the
is
pictures. I
watching.
mean, it looked like Carl's Elite Series trophy was heavily involved in about every wedding picture. I saw one of them with both of them on a boat. So, I mean, fishing is a huge part
Yeah,
of their
it is.
lives, man. So they might be checking it out. If so, congratulations to you
Absolutely.
guys. Miss having you out here. Hopefully, he will be back next year.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny because I talked to him a couple times. He really wanted to do it, and I had forgotten why he couldn't come. And the week before the event, I'm like, hey, somebody backed out. I can get you in. And then when I was on the road, I checked out Instagram, and I saw a picture of him and Kayla And I sent him a message. I said, well, that's one good reason to miss the Open.
That's an acceptable reason for you, Billy.
Yeah.
We'll let that one slide.
To him, but
Man, the rest of the field might be glad he's not out here. That guy was on a roll there towards the end of the season, man. His confidence was at an all-time high and fishing really good right now.
Well, speaking about that, Chris Zaldane doesn't surprise me that he did well yesterday.
Yeah,
he did pretty well. He's had a stellar year this year, and his spirits are awesome. Him and his wife are awesome. It was funny because we drove by the other morning, Monday morning for lunch, and they were tied up next to each other, still working on some stuff together, helping each other out. And I drove by and I'm like, oh, isn't that cute?
Is that exactly how you said it, Billy?
That's exactly how I said it.
You don't say that at fishing tournaments very often, do you, Mark?
Nope.
Oh, that's so cute.
Well,
that's awesome. Oh, I love it. I'm going to say that to Kevin next time we see him.
Absolutely. Well,
but this year is really awesome. I mean, with Ishman Rowe, Jared Lintner, Dean Rojas, Clifford Perch, Roy Hawk, all of them that came this year, really, some of them came because and only because of the change in the payout system that we did and making this a $200,000 payout with a $64,000 boat.
Why not?
Well, that's where the U.S. Open's always needed to be. It needed to be, and it always has been, but I went back and I called Rick Clun and I called some of the guys from the very, very beginning, and I asked them, hey, how was it structured before? How was it done before? What did you win before? And it's always been $50,000, and even the first one was a check for $50 because there were no sponsors almost. There were no boats, there were no motor sponsors and things like that. That changed through time, but when we, looked at the extra 150 boats or 100 boats that we were getting on top of our 150 payouts that we used to spread evenly from first place to last place, it just made sense because the U.S. Open is, I think, third highest payout tournament in the nation, and it's a standalone event that you don't have to qualify for.
Well, and if you really want to break it down, you look at the entry fee you're paying versus the potential of what you have to win or the opportunity to win. I would argue there's no other tournament in the country that even comes close to the the cost benefit reward there. I mean, what's the pro entry fee, Billy?
$1,600.
I mean, for $1,600, you're giving yourself a chance to win $100,000 plus a boat plus whatever contingency money you have in place and big bass awards and everything else. I mean,
we gotta get the bonus.
There's no way there's another tournament that has that.
Not really.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So what are you thinking today? We were talking about it earlier. This first year in recent memory that we haven't had any weather issues, but showing forecast right now showing southwest at 1 to 2 miles per hour. I mean, pretty much dead calm, slick. What do you think about the weights today, man? You think that they're going to stay about the same? Potential to go up? Things going to get tougher? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, by talking to a few of the guys and actually going out, I took Paul, our Wombass editor, out on the Caracal this morning, the Bass Cat Caracal from Century Marine. We went out and I wanted to show him the Narrows because he'd never been here before. Got some great photos, stopped by and talked to a few people. It seemed like guys had caught a couple fish already, but there actually was a little more wind than that they're calling for. There's about a 5-mile-an-hour wind out there because with no wind, it's going to be a really, really tough. With some wind, I think these guys are going to have a little bit better time on their top water. It's funny because I was talking to Bud Tosh, Greg Gutierrez, Aaron Martins, and a couple other guys late last night down in the hotel, and they could not believe how many fish jumped off. They were getting the bites. They just couldn't get the fish to the boat. So I think with a little bit of wind, a little bit of refractionary surface, those fish might be a little more aggressive for the bite. And what everybody told me, especially those guys and Aaron Martin and Greg Gutierrez, said that if you don't get those smallmouths to the boat and get them in instantly, you're in trouble. Because they're active, they're jumping, and Aaron, he's like, it was 3.5 feet out of the water, Bill. But, keeping those fish pinned on when you can get them is going to be key. Getting 5 fish over 13 inches, I think it's going to be similar to yesterday, but a little bit better.
That's good.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
The conditions are nice out there.
Thing. Yeah, a lot of guys thinking the same thing. I think one thing that of note, it seems that the guys that have experience in multi-day tournaments, 3 days or more, tend to oftentimes rise to the top in these type of events. A lot of guys, a lot of guys,
Yeah, I think they manage their fish better.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't have that experience in managing their fish. And with that being said, man, I mean, you got some guys within striking distance that have a lot of experience with multi-day tournaments. I mean, Jared Littner, Chris Zaldane, Dean Rojas, Luke Clausen. I mean, all those guys have won huge events, multi-day tournaments. I mean, you think that gives them an extra little bit of confidence in an event like this, knowing that, hey, man, maybe I've got a little experience edge on some of my field. Any mind games going on there? I wonder. A little intimidation, little trash talking in the morning to guys.
I'm not sure if there's much trash talking because these guys all are pretty awesome out here. But I would have to say that they have the comfort of being able to relax a little bit and not be so stressed because they've been through this in high stress situations and positions where they can win or lose by just a fish or so. But these other guys that are what I have been saying, the average pro Joes out here, those guys are freaking out. Oh my God, I've got a chance. What do I do? How am I going to do it? Where am I going to go? Should I do this? Should I do that? As opposed to Dean, Rojas, and Lintner, they're probably just relaxing and going, okay, here's my game plan. I already had my game plan set a week ago. I knew what I was going to do already.
Yeah, I talked to a few of those guys yesterday when they got off stage. Just hadn't seen them since the mid-season time, just to kind of catch up, and all of them were just kind of like, man, I only caught 8 or 9 or 10 pounds. I mean, it's weird because you go over, a guy weighs in 9 pounds, and he's just over there like doesn't even want to pull him out of the bag for a picture or anything. Just like, man, this hard. I'm like, dude, like that's a good bag. Like, I mean, like you're fine, man. You caught almost 9 pounds. It's like, oh no. I was like, yo, well, 11 or 12 tomorrow. Oh, 11, 12, I can do that, no problem. And these other guys are like, oh man, I caught 10 pounds. They're just grinning from ear to ear. So a little bit of difference there.
Molinari's in 7th place with 985.
Yeah.
I mean,
only 6 bags over 10 pounds yesterday, Billy. I think that's
a little bit tougher.
A little bit tougher than last year.
Yeah. Well, I think it was that cold snap that came through, that real bad wind and cold snap that came through Thursday and Friday, changed things up because these fish out here, they're used to days like this for weeks on end. And when something comes in that they're not used to, it throws them off track. So I think the longer this tournament goes, the better the bite's going to get.
You mean something they're not used to, like 250 boats?
Yeah.
In a
bunch of high-powered clouds.
Yeah, I mean that probably throws them off a little bit too. One thing, I haven't heard the guys talk about it. Is there any vegetation this year? I know,
a little bit
a few years ago, guys were doing really well on emergent, like, short vegetation kind of growing off the bottom. Any of that this year?
Billy?
There is vegetation. I saw some guys send in some pictures during pre-fish that showed some mat areas. The mats on top were pretty brown at that time, I think because the water had dropped a little bit in August leading up to the tournament as they start filling it up again to get where we're at now. So there definitely is some vegetation. There's some bushes along the edge, couple of the places we went today had, you know, trees in the water with bushy vegetation behind it. You know, last year I heard a couple guys at last year's tournament, because one of the co-anglers told me, is a buddy of mine, he's like, hey, my pro told me just to hold on. And I was like, what do you mean hold on? And this particular pro went straight into the vegetation, into about 6 inches of water, basically, in the trees all around you. And this guy was flipping up and over trees into small little pockets, catching three-pound fish. And he said he'd never seen anything like it in his life.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of these guys will four-wheel drive bass cats. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff at Clear Lake where you got the tule beds and, you know, the cattails, and guys are going 20 miles an hour, and you're like, where the hell's he going? And then all of a sudden, right before the cattails, he turns it off and glides as far back into the muck as he can get.
Yep. Do it when it's 3 foot deep on a river in Alabama.
Well, then you got the guys in the jet boats who can get through 3 inches of stuff, that utilize those boats to get to certain areas like at Havasu and Clear Lake, and I'm sure there's some areas upriver that a jet boat would be ideal for, to get to some locations that the other guys couldn't.
Could you extend the tournament day for them to about 16 hours though?
Yeah, so they can make it all the way back from the Overton arm.
Right. If you go to the jet, you run the Colorado River, and a jet probably take you about 6 hours. You fish for an hour and get 6 hours back.
Well, you need 3 gas stations in between you and Overton from Colville.
No, I don't recall a jet boat, and I don't even know if that is allowed in the U.S. Open with the jet drive stuff. Is it, Billy?
The jet drive, it would be allowed. It's just a case-by-case situation, depending on who the person is, you know, because we have a motor restriction of 90 horsepower as the minimum, and 300 is the maximum. But, you know, basically, I'll look at the situation based on the professionalism of the person. You know, if you have like a Paul Bailey or Sean Bailey or someone that's been fishing tournaments for years and says, hey, I want to use my jet boat, that's up to you, bud. It's legal, yeah.
Ott Defo is filling out his entry form right now.
Right now.
He's coming next year with his tunnel jet drive and going and finding something that looks like a Tennessee River somewhere way in the upper reaches, a creek, the upper reaches of Lake Mead, and taking everybody's money. That's my prediction.
Don't get Billy's hopes up.
It's my prediction.
If
you call him and tell him, hey,
he wouldn't
man,
he wouldn't have room for a co-angler or any rods, because he'd have gas tanks in every bin.
No, he can't do that probably. But man.
Well, Bill, we know you got to get set up. We know there's a bunch of stuff going on. You are wrangling horses and strangling mice and trying to keep things going organized up there for the next weigh-in.
How's the tire this morning, dude?
Yeah.
Any tire issues this morning?
No, I had to replace that yesterday when I had 15 minutes in between the live broadcast and getting back out to the lake. Luckily, I'm in an Enterprise rental truck and caught a screw in one of the tires and couldn't be patched, so Firestone Tires, who's connected with Enterprise, fixed it in a jiffy, and I was on my way back to the lake, and all 4 are working just fine.
Great.
But it made for a scary morning on my way out to the first day's launch, thinking I was going to have to change a tire in the middle of nowhere all by myself.
Well, if there's one thing I know about you, you just love having extra things come up during the U.S. Open. It's your favorite.
It wouldn't be the U.S. Open if Billy didn't have something come up.
That's why I said the strangling of the mice, because there's always one that's trying to get away from him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, this morning I had an angler that was very excited, very, interested. He's in the first flight. His AAA was a little late. He's like, hey, Bill, I'm in the first flight. I'm going to go up to the tires. I'm going to wait, just make sure that guy gets to me. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll make sure he gets to you. No problem. Make a couple phone calls. He was on the courtesy dock waiting for him. I'm like, hey, buddy, he's on the courtesy dock. Well, tell him to get up here. I said, what? No. And he said, never mind, I'll get him.
That's funny.
And he went back and got him, so everybody was good to go, and it was a great launch. Looks like it's going to be an awesome day. But yeah, I do need to go get a couple extra bump tanks, take care of the extra boats that we've got, get things organized so we can have a nice smooth day 2 weigh-in.
Sounds good.
Cool,
We'll see you
man.
out
We
there.
appreciate your time, and we will see you out at Colville Bay at around, we'll see you before 2 o'clock. But weigh-in got started, I don't know, man, 2:15, 2:20 yesterday. First flight checks in at 2 o'clock. Takes a little while to get the guys on the trailer and up to the bump tanks. But 2:15, 2:20, Billy, we will be expecting big things as you go live and conduct the weigh-in as only you can.
You got it. I'm going to go pick up some cough drops, too, to save this voice.
We need it.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks.
See you a little bit. Well, Mark, I guess we should take a little break and get ready for Mark Copley from Strike King.
The 2020 Cougar FTD Special Package is built to run and priced to win. Competition-ready package comes fully with proven accessories waiting for your personal touch when picking custom colors. Starting at the bow, the 2020 Cougar FTD SP comes rigged with a 45-inch Minn Kota Ultrex, Humminbird Helix Mega DI, a keel guard, and a padded front deck. Plenty of storage in the lighted boxes and space for you and your partner are part of the Cougar's full team deck and is a platform of choice for top-level pros like Mike Iaconelli.
That's a 10-pounder. We staying.
A Humminbird Helix 9 Mega SI unit centers the console, loaded with a regional Lakemaster card of your choice and surrounded by the interactive digital switch panel that includes a built-in security system. Tilt helm and Teleflex steering also come as part of this package. The super deep LED lighted triangular live wells ensure plenty of space for the biggest bag, and the ample rear deck includes dual storage boxes, a Minn Kota 3-bank charger, removable rear deck lids for ease of access, and a stainless steel boarding ladder. Powered by the new V8 Mercury 250 Pro XS 4-stroke mounted on an 8-inch R&R jack plate, the Cougar FTD Special Package also comes equipped with twin 8-foot power poles, resting on a tandem axle trailer that comes loaded with features like a swing-away tongue, grab post, and IMCO tie-downs, plus dual axle brakes. The Cougar FTD Special Package also lets you choose your rims from Prowler or Stalker to complement your style. If you're in the market for a turnkey, competition-ready combo that's second to none in performance, build, and warranty, look no further than the 2020 Cougar FTD Special Package.
Everybody knows that I love the pitch and flip. Now Dia was designed a reel for me that I can go pitch and flip all across the country with. It's going to be the reel for me when I'm out there on tour.
You know, one thing I absolutely love about this new Tattoo Elite, you're going to get a distance cast, a much further cast.
This is just going to be a sports car reel. This is one that you're ready to get, you know, a high performance reel. The Tattoo Elite, is that reel for you?
Very, very good reel. Best one we've ever made on the Tattoo series.
There's nothing like bass fishing. The strike, the bite, the fight, it's my passion, it's what I do. Bass fishing is not a team sport. You better be mentally tough. Success or failure, it's all on you. Focus on the variables you can control and don't worry about the ones you can't. I'm always striving for perfection. Everything I use has to perform at the top level because that's what I demand. It's all about the attitude. Put me under pressure, that's when I'm going to perform. Every day on the water, my goal is to be the best.
Yeah, you care about gear ratios, inches per turn, and ball bearings, but most importantly, you want reliability and dependability in the equipment you use. Lew's doesn't cut corners when it comes to the gear they build. The new Speed Spool LFS is the best $99 reel in the market. Go see for yourself.
All right, everybody, we're back. Was that dramatic or what? We're back at Boulder Station Casino, here, the host hotel of the 2019 One Bass U.S. Open. We got a special guest. It's his first time coming to the U.S. Open. The companies have been a part of it for the last several years between Luz and Strike King, but Mark Copley, who's their media relations manager, he got to come out this year and partake of this event and be able to be here and see this. So, Mark, first U.S. Open, we want to know what you think.
I think this is absolutely incredible. I was listening to you guys earlier when you were talking to Billy, and what kind of blows my mind is that you've got a 250 boat field out here, and there's people from everywhere. It's not just from out on the west. There's people all over this country that care about this tournament. And I know some that were coming from a pretty far distance and ended up not being able to make it. But just the interest here, and this is such a cool tournament in the fact that you've got guys who are on the elite level with the different tours out here fishing. You've got guys who they fish maybe on the weekends, but it's just such a cool place, and we're at such a cool place. I mean, the desert. Some people won't say it, but I will. It is just an absolute gorgeous place, and the water is just absolutely beautiful here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's such an interesting dynamic here at the U.S. Open, Mark. The host hotel, having it at Boulder Station Casino, kind of all the meetings, the pairings, stuff like that, and then you just kind of drive away from the strip and kind of through the desert to this oasis, which is Lake Mead, which I think makes it a really special event.
I agree with you, and my drive out yesterday was, I'm driving and I keep looking, I'm like, good Lord, am I ever going to get there? It's a drive out there, but it's so worth it when you get there.
Well, it's what's unique to me, and I know you probably haven't got a chance to experience it yet, but just to see the sunrise in the morning at a takeoff, it's beautiful no matter what. Which you wouldn't, I'm a guy that pine trees and those kinds of things. That's kind of where I'm used to being. So to come here and to be able to say, wow, that's stunning. It's totally different. It's an amazing thing, and then to be on the water covering the tournament as I have the last 7 years, to be able to see all the things, the bighorn sheep and all the stuff that goes on out there on the water, and the coyotes and road runners and all the stuff that's out there. It's pretty amazing.
Absolutely. As I was driving back last night, I hit one of the first. I wasn't even to the main road from the marina, and right up on a hill just off to my left was a bunch of bighorn sheep, and that's so cool because from being from Tennessee and that area, we don't have a whole lot of bighorn sheep there unless they've got them at the local zoo.
Well, and be honest, you wanted to shoot them, didn't you? You're like, that would look great on my wall.
I was measuring the horns on the rams just to see if they were legal.
Is this a legal sheep?
Oh, so Mark, tell us a little bit about what's going on at Luz and Strike King these days. What kind of things are you guys working on?
Well, a little bit of everything. We had some big exciting news a couple of weeks ago when we announced about Kevin Van Dam coming over to Luz, and we're very excited about that, about what he'll bring to the table as far as product development. Take some things that we have right now that are really good and make them even better. Working on that, we've already had some early product development meetings with him. We're getting started on this right away. We're excited about what the West Coast brings for us. That's one of the reasons we want to be involved, not only with this tournament, but with the whole swing that Western Outdoor News has with their tournaments. We do a writers conference in California at Clear Lake in April. And so we're looking to find the right things that are needed out here, what the West Coast anglers want to use to fish, and try to provide them quality, affordable baits that they can take out and use and be successful with. But got a lot of things. We released a lot of cool things at ICAST this year. we got in the net game, and after talking to some of our guys yesterday, most of them were throwing the net ocho and catching. That's what they were catching their fish on. So we've already seen some success with what's going on there. But new weight bait, new one knocker, the hard knock sexy dog, just a lot of stuff. And on the Lew's side, some really cool new reels that are at an affordable price point where everybody can get in the game, but still have a quality reel. It's the new Classic Pro is a $60 reel that fishes like a $130 reel. So we got a lot of things going on. It's very exciting times for us. It's just, I'm excited to be in this industry. I honestly would not want to be in any other industry. It's just there's the friends that I've made and the partnerships that we've started just doesn't happen in any other industry.
I want to know how you got them to name a bait after you.
Well,
the one knock sexy dog. How'd you get him to name that after you?
It cost me a lot of money. And,
what do you mean, Dad? They had to pay him to give up the rights to use that name.
Right, the big sexy.
Mark, the one that's hurtful is that someone's already using my nickname, Big Sexy, and I'm thinking about suing them.
Mark, this is your first-hand exposure to the U.S. Open, and one of the unique things here that we always talk about is the format where the AAAs are totally involved in the day's events of fishing, and it's different than other formats because the pro, the guy in the front of the boat, is really helping and wanting that guy in the back of the boat to catch fish. What are your thoughts on that format, and do you think it's something that you'd like to see more on a national scale?
Absolutely, I love it because in the past with the pro co-boats, it was one guy was doing his thing, the other guy was doing his thing, and if you're not the same type fisherman and fishing the same type things, that's not always good for either one. And I think it's great because not only does the pro help out the co, but there were several instances yesterday where the co really helped out the pro. So I love the fact with people working together instead of just riding in the same boat. I think it's a great format, and I would love to see this in other tournaments.
Yeah, I think some of the feedback we always get from AAAs especially at this event is man, this is the best tournament I've ever fished because of the format, and they make lifelong friends and learn a lot at an event like this.
Absolutely. I saw a really cool thing yesterday when Jared Lintner weighed in that big bass that I think was right at 4 pounds or maybe a little over. And the young man that fished with him, of course, Jared's a big, tall guy, and this young man, he was not very tall, but he had a smile as tall as Jared. And getting pictures of him, it was just it's really cool because there's not the word I can say, but just everybody feels like one of the group here, and you don't have to feel like, that's one of the pros, I can't go talk to them. I mean, you can talk to them, they're here, and it's just, I think it's a really cool deal, and I think it brings about a family aspect.
Absolutely. That I actually interviewed Jared and his partner guy. His name is Austin Kubica. He's from Peoria, Arizona. Really cool story. I think I'm going to try to do something for a blog post or a story somewhere about it in the near future. But 16 years old, his first U.S. Open. Had obviously heard about it, been dreaming about fishing it, and man, I mean, that couldn't have worked out any better for Austin. I mean, your first draw in the U.S. Open as a AAA is a tour-level pro, Jared Lintner, a guy from the West Coast that he probably grew up, hearing about and watching anyway, and to go out and to have an absolute great day, sitting in 5th place, and to actually play a part in Jared catching that fish. I'm not going to give up the juice on what Jared was doing, but it's a pretty cool story about how everybody can learn from one another. Jared told me a few things that he actually learned from fishing with Austin yesterday, so that's pretty cool.
Mark,
that is really cool.
We got a question on the instant feedback from Dave, who wants to know how you guys got KVD to jump ship.
Well, I don't know that he jumped ship. It was, it's, KVD has been with the group at Strike King for a long, long time, and he was very comfortable with the fact that 3 years ago, Luz was bought, or 4 years ago, Luz was bought by Peak Rock, and then we were bought by Peak Rock, and we are both such like-branded companies in the fact that we are family-oriented. We do a lot of stuff together. We all love to fish. The majority of the people that work at either brand spend a lot of time on the water, and his comfort level with us was, and he saw an opportunity to come over and help us, take the Luz brand even farther. So it came with the blessings of the guy in the press release. Steve Smith from Quantum had a quote in there that he sent to us to use for the press release. So we're thrilled to have him. KVD is a long-term, very loyal guy, and for him to change to a different company, those don't come easy. And it wasn't anything that we pressured him to do. It was all his decision. So we're thrilled to have him.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's done a few things.
Yeah,
one thing he has not done.
On a personal level, he hit me in the face with a spinnerbait about 5 years ago, so I still haven't given him forgiveness.
One thing he has not done, which is a dream of our tournament director, Mr. Billy Egan, and maybe Mark, maybe this is the relationship that was needed to make this happen. One thing he has not done is fish the One Bass U.S. Open. I've talked to Kevin on several occasions, and he's actually said, man, it's on his bucket list before he hangs it up, that he really wants to fish the One Bass U.S. Open, man. Maybe you can make that happen.
We did talk. I was actually with Kevin last week. We were in Traverse City for a writers camp. Kevin was there, Mark Zona was there, JBD was there, Mark Rose was there, and we had them up there along with some foreign media people, and we talked about it. He was asking me where I was headed next, and he said, he says, one of these days I do want to go fish that, and I think it would be great for the sport to get him out here. I think it could probably be a humbling experience, because you see these guys come out here, the elite level guys that come out here, and it's just, don't assume because they fish on elite tour that they're going to go out and just smack them. And this lake will humble anybody, and I've heard that from a lot of people.
Absolutely, I think it'd be cool for Zona to fish it too.
That would be fun.
Get Zona out here, and then get him to film a show on it. Do a Zona's awesome fishing show out here.
That would be
fun. I'll give you a free idea, man. Just have Zona and KVD road trip it from Michigan to the U.S. Open, film the whole thing, document it. That's what you need to do, man. That'd be a really cool promotional deal, and we'd get a lot of interest, and it would probably be extremely entertaining. Imagine those two guys rolling cross country to Vegas together.
They might need a buffer.
They might need more than a buffer.
Don't put Copley in the truck with either one of them.
Yeah, man, you can be their caddy. You can drive them, Mark. There you
go. He'll stir it up, though, is the problem. He'll get it going. Well, Mark, you said you had a little surprise for everybody, that you were going to do a little Strike King Lure Company giveaway. What is it you're thinking about here?
All right, so we'll give out the details of the prize first.
Right.
That way they know what they're trying to win, and so we're going to go with the new Baby Z2, which is an incredible drop shot bait, which out here and everywhere else is really a great way to fish. But we're going to do a 6-pack, 6 packages of each color.
Jeez.
Of the Baby Z2.
That's a whole tackle box full.
But wait, there's more. I've been wanting to say that all day. But wait, there's more. We're also going to do a 6-pack of random colors that I'll pick of each size of our Rage swimmer. So that's a 575, a 475, a 375, a 3 1/4, and a 275 6-pack, and there'll be colors that are relevant that will work anywhere.
That's cool. That's a nice little 1-2 punch there, man. Catch them on something moving, and follow up with the drop shot, or vice versa.
Yeah, but do you understand how many baits that is?
That's a lot of baits.
No, you understand when he says every color. How many colors is the Baby Z2 offered in, Mark? It's like
I think they come in six colors.
So it's 36 bags of bait, guys, on the Baby Z2, and it'll be the same thing for each size, 6 of each size of the Rage swimmer. So that they come in a little plastic bundle, saran wrap with 6 bags of it in there. So I mean, he's giving you guys $150 worth of product. So
quite a prize pack, but it's going to take a little effort from our viewers, right, Mark? Well, what are they going to have to do in order to? We're going to do a little trivia,
and they have to answer on the instant feedback. This isn't a call-in.
Yeah, first one, we'll timestamp it. First person that answers this correctly will receive the prize pack. We'll send you an instant message after we confirm that everything is correct and get your shipping information and everything. We'll get that to Mark, and at some point in time when Mark gets done with his Vegas adventure, you will receive a nice care package from the good folks at Strike King. So what do we got for him, Mark?
Here's the question. And there are a few of them out here. I need to know, name one from the Strike King National Pro Staff, or someone who is either Strike King or Lose that is fishing in this U.S. Open tournament.
Strike King or Lose Pro Staff.
Strike King or Lose. And you tell me what comes up, and I'll verify that that's correct.
All right. I'm putting it out now.
He's putting it out there. Don't forget the apostrophe S on Lose. Come on, man. Get it right, live, Dave. Man. I know. He's on the fly.
Don't worry, David. It takes 4 months to get that right.
Bite me, Mark. Oh!
Hey,
well,
first one that popped up was right there.
Well, we've already got an answer before I even get it out, man.
Mark, we thought we were going to get you going for like 10 minutes there, and the first guy gets one.
Well, should we
that one doesn't count.
Doesn't count?
No. But he's included, so that works. So Ryan, respond real quick. Tell me where you're from. Ryan was in here and like jumping jack flash with one of the answers, and I think he's going to get it right.
Is that correct?
Is Bryant Smith included in that list, Mark Copley?
Yes, he is.
Okay. So Ryan from... Where's Ryan? He hasn't answered.
Man, there's a lot of guesses, man. Ryan is from Sacramento. So Ryan
from Sacramento.
From Sacramento. I'm gonna send you a private message, and you're gonna give me your address, shipping info, and Mr. Mark Copley from Strike King will send you your prize pack. That's pretty cool, man. A lot of other guesses. Some of them correct, some of them not.
Well, one of them would. He's not official anymore because he fishes specialty tournaments only, and that's Kevin Short.
And Andrew Upshaw.
Andrew Upshaw, does he count? I'm just kidding. Andrew counts. He won a big tournament this year.
Yeah, he did. He won at Cherokee.
Yes, he did. FLW Tour Cherokee. Some guys need to
wire to wire.
Yes, he did. Some guys need to go do some research on who people's sponsors are, though, because there's some wildly inaccurate guesses on here, but that's all right. We appreciate them.
Let me tell you a little bit about Bryant Smith. And Dano, I know you've known him for a while.
Yeah.
He's a great young man. He was with us last year out at Clear Lake for the riders camp that we did out there, and for his first time of really spending time with the media, he did a great job on camera. I actually did some content with him and shot some stuff, but he's way ahead of the game, and he is one of our Strike King pros. He is not with Luz, but he is a Strike King guy. So that is a correct answer.
Yeah, Brian's a good guy. He's the Costa Series event. He was in the top 10 there right before that.
Yeah, Brian had a limit yesterday for 6.89 pounds, sitting in 81st place currently. Which, really think about it, man. 6.89. He's 3 pounds, 4 pounds, 3 pounds off the lead, 4 pounds off the lead. It's not bad.
No, he's not.
No, and with tournaments, how that can turn around. The guy in the lead could catch 4 pounds today.
Right.
You got to catch them every day. Just because you're up there the first day doesn't mean anything. And I'm not telling you guys anything new, but it's like someone said that was saying yesterday. You can't win it on the first day, but you can definitely lose it on the first day. He did not lose it on the first day, so he's still right in there.
Ryan, I got your instant message and your address. I will give your information to Mark at the weigh-in today, and we'll see him, and he will get you out that prize pack, man. We appreciate you tuning in and answering that question.
And there's, just so you guys know, there's 2 other names that would have been able to qualify for that prize. Andrew Upshaw was one of them, and Billy Hines is another one. Those 2 guys are officially, that would have been and there may be more, but I know officially those 2 would have been acceptable answers either. And both Andrew.
And there were some others that were coming, but for different circumstances couldn't get out here. But this tournament is talked about. This is not just a Western. I mean, this truly is the U.S. Open, and it does amaze me how far people will drive and pull a boat to come fish this.
Yeah, we were talking to Billy a little bit earlier. I've always thought it was pretty. I know the first year we came out and covered it, one of the things I was looking forward to was kind of, getting to see how many international anglers follow it. I remember one of the surprising things running the instant feedback and interacting with all of our live viewers in the first few years was how many people from Japan and Korea and just different countries tuned into the coverage.
It is a big time deal, and I'm happy to be out here. I'm thinking about hiring a helicopter to take me out there today, though.
Now you can do that here in Vegas.
You could do helicopter tours. You could do a helicopter tour.
I'd just go do a tour and say, "Hey, can you just drop me off?"
just rappel.
You'd have to rappel, Mark. I'll give you the ride back though. You can go for a ride in the rental Challenger on the way back.
You go. Hey, speaking about driving far distances, Dano and I were talking the other day. We want to fish this thing.
I have for years.
We were talking about that yesterday. We're like, man, we've been out here for like 9 years just sitting here watching this. Why don't we fish one day? Well, the track record.
Not want to fish it.
Yeah, the track record for media people fishing is pretty good.
Yeah, because Panger.
Bass Talk Live co-host Matt Pangerak puts his name in the hat last year. First time he ever fishes it, wins the AAA side and retires.
Yeah, retired. Well, this may be his Super Bowl now.
If I won the AAA side, I would retire too.
Well, that's what he said. I mean, he just got absolute perfect draws, and last year, unfortunately, we had 1 day of weather cancellation, so everything just worked out in his favor. But
he would have won it anyway. The dude's got a golden horseshoe up him.
But it's probably hard to win it twice on a AAA. That's something I want to ask Billy about. Has there been anybody multiple-time AAA champion?
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Don't know. Well, Mark, we appreciate you spending
some
time with us.
But I'm going to let Dano be the one who pulls the trail. I'll just fly out here and I'll fish the AAA.
You pay for everything, and I'll do it. Anyway, Mark, we appreciate you spending some time with us. You're a good friend to all of us, and a great partner to so many. And thanks to Strike King and Luz for being behind this event. And we will see you at the weigh-in, Mr. Rappel.
Yeah, I'll be rappelling in. Thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on, and no, we're honored to be a part of this. And I had a phone call with my boss earlier today, talking about how, and this is twice we've talked about it this week, about how cool it is to be a part of this, and we're looking for a long-term relationship to be out here because we think it's worth it.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Chuck Bahajer and Billy love hearing that. So we will talk to you this afternoon, sir.
I will see you gentlemen this afternoon.
All right, well, folks, we're going to
paint a big circle in the parking lot for me to rappel onto.
We'll be looking.
Just don't shoot any bighorn ram while you're out there, okay?
I'll use silent bullets.
All right, folks, we're going to be back here in just a little bit to wrap up the Daily Show.
Bass fishing is a tough game, and it's even tougher on today's outboard engines. Competing at a high level requires maximum engine performance every time I'm on the water so I can outrun and outfish my competitors. To keep my boat running at its best, I use Techron Marine from Chevron with every fill-up. 1 ounce for every 10 gallons keeps my engine clean and strong while stabilizing my fuel for up to 2 years. Techron Marine gives me a peace of mind knowing I'll get plenty of power every time I push the throttle.
Be sane. Don't fritter away your time. Create. Act. Take a place wherever you are and be somebody. Get action.
Man, I have been catching reds all day long and have not changed baits one time. Seriously, this stuff is so durable. Z-Man Elastec is by far the best bait for catching reds and ocean fish, but with bass too, you can catch 30, 40 bass on one bait, and even those teeth don't tear it up. That is insane durability.
Hey guys, Tim Horton here. I'm from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and compete on the Bass Pro Tour. To me, the biggest thing is being able to have that security to know when I'm in my hotel room or at the place I'm staying, I can look at my boat at any time and see that a breaker hasn't been thrown, that I'm able to charge the boat, and also for the security reasons of knowing, someone's not breaking in the boat and I get a text if they are. Definitely cool to have that security to know what's going on in my boat.
Hi, I'm Mark Zona. What? I'm Mark Zona. Well, I need a performance braid for finesse presentations. And I need a performance braid for power fishing. Seaguar Smackdown High-Vis Flash Green lets me see line movement for those subtle bites. Smackdown Low-Vis Stealth Gray blends in to make my presentations more natural. Both are 8 strands in a perfectly round weave. And for me, it's the longest casting and quietest braid on the planet. Smackdown Braid from Seaguar, always the best.
Everything's good, right? We're good?
Yeah.
At Mercury, we've been reshaping power. How you use it is completely up to you. Introducing the all-new V8 Mercury 4-stroke. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly.
All right, everybody, we're back here at the Boulder Station Casino host hotel of the 2019 One Bass U.S. Open here at the live show presented by Bridgeford and LifeSource Water Systems. We got Paul Leibowitz, who is an editor for Western Outdoor News.
Yep.
And Paul got to go out on the water for just a little bit today. From what I gather, Billy took you out into the Narrows and kind of let you see what was out there, huh?
Yeah, we didn't get very far. You know, that takes about 5 minutes in one of these bass rockets.
It does. So, Billy said you came across a few people. Got to talk to a couple people briefly. What kind of stuff were you hearing?
We didn't talk to anybody.
Oh, okay.
No. As soon as we got within shouting distance, people were giving us a side eye.
Oh, kind of trying to get you to push off. I got you.
What is this? Yeah. I'm pointing a camera at them. I don't know why they thought that was a fishing pole or something. But one thing we did notice is, it was another really nice day. There's a little bit of breeze here and there, putting a pattern on the water, but otherwise pretty flat calm.
So you didn't. How many people did you see kind of in the Narrows that were fishing? I mean, obviously you can't see in all the little crannies and nooks and canyons that go back, but were there a few?
I saw 2 boats fishing in there and no name boats.
Okay, so just kind of hit or miss. You could go into all those little canyons and crooks and stuff and probably find a few. But so what was your impression of being out there on Lake Mead for the first time?
Oh, Lake Mead, it looks just mystical. So many different environments here.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really intriguing.
Okay, so what's your thoughts now, being here covering the U.S. Open with us for the first time here at this event right now? What's your thoughts?
Well, I'm thrilled to be here. This is a storied event. What are we in the 37th edition?
37th, yes.
Yeah, and the names on the champions list are, well, they're name brand.
Yeah.
They're top line pros on there, and the best in the West. Really good mix, and it's very interesting to see Justin Kerr turn in a good performance yesterday, right from the beginning. He was the 4th to weigh in.
Yeah, he was. It was a quick one, and he took the lead and held it all day long. So we're gonna get over there and get head up and set up out there, and you've had 2 early mornings in a row. I'm sure you could use just a little bit of time to kind of gather your thoughts.
Yeah, well, after the event.
All right, folks. Well, Paul, thanks for spending a little bit of time with us. We will be back from weigh-in at Colville Bay a little bit after 2. The boats start checking in right there, so we'll see you then back at the 2019 One Bass U.S. Open presented by Bass Cat Boats and Mercury Outboards. See you in a little bit from the live weigh-in. Thanks for spending the day with us.